Hey everybody, Mr. Odom here, and I am going to go through a review of Chapter 6. I recommend that you work out the exercises that you'll see here. It's good practice. In the past, students that have taken the time to work these problems out in their composition books usually did pretty good on the test. So your test is coming up soon, and this is just some extra practice. All right, and the answer key is here at the end. So at the end of this video, I'll show it to you and you can so you have the answers. All right, so let's get started. The first section we covered was section 6.1, percents and decimals, and things that we had to know how to do. We had to know how to write a percent as a decimal, which meant all we had to do was move the decimal point away from the percent sign, 2 places to the left. And then we talked about how to write decimals as percents. And for that, we moved the decimal point 2 places to the right, where it'll be closer to the percent sign. So for number 1, if we want to write 76% as a decimal, I write 76. I move that decimal point 2 places, 1, 2. So this would be 0.76. All right. If I want to write the decimal as a percent, 0.15, then I move that decimal 1, 2 places to the right. So this becomes 15%. All right. And there's some more for you guys to practice. Then in the 6.2, we talked about comparing and ordering fractions, decimals, and percents. And the thing to remember there is to change everything either into decimals, or percents. Those are your best options. If you try to change everything into fractions, you can. I'm not going to stop you. But you can't compare fractions unless they have the same common denominator. All right. So for like number 7, 1/2, I already know that that is 50%. So I can compare 50% and 52%, and I know that 50% is less than. So 52% is greater than 1/2. All right. And then finally, it says use a number line to order the numbers from least to greatest. So remember, turn everything into either a percent or a decimal. So we're like number 11. I have 0.82. That's what 41 over 50 is. And then I have 0.83. And then for 80%, I have 0.80. So if I was going to put these things on a number line, they would all be between 0 and let's say 1. And here is like 0.5, 0.6, 0.7, 0.8, 0.9. So everything's going to be in here, right? So you can actually magnify that. And let's say this is 0.8 and 0.9 on the number line, and 0.80 is right there. 0.82 would be next. That would be about right there. Okay, 0.82, and then 0.83 would be right next to it, right there. So this would be 0.83. So if I was going to write these values in order from least to greatest, it would be 80%, then 41 over 50, and then 0.83. Okay, so that's how you work those problems out. Then we talked about the percent proportion, which is the part divided by the whole equals the percent written as a fraction. Okay, and this takes you through some good examples and tells you what to remember. So just remember, is and of. The number that's by the word of, that is going to be your whole. The number that's by the word is going to be the part. So I recommend you identify those pieces first and then go in and solve the problem. And they go through a couple examples on how to solve the problem. I always say that the textbook does not put the line through the problem like I kind of showed you when we're solving equations, but just you can imagine that it's there. So for this problem, what number is, that is my part. 15% is my percent, and then 80 is my whole. So I identify everything first and then plug the numbers into the formula and solve for the variable that I'm looking for. Okay, so there's some exercises for you. I will move on from here and talk about the percent equation, which is the part equals the percent written as a fraction or a decimal, and I recommend you write it as a decimal, that's just me, times the whole, all right? And again, no different than the percent proportion problems. You have to be able to identify all the pieces of the problem, and then you just plug them in, okay? So there's some examples here for you to go through, and you can read those and see how the problems were solved. Remember, if you're looking for a percent, here we were looking for a percent, you have to make sure that you write your answer as a percent. Don't write it as a decimal, write it as a percent. Okay, and there's some practice there. Then we talked about percents of increase and percents of decrease. And remember the formulas. So we had the percent of increase equals the new amount minus the original amount divided by the original. And the percent of decrease is the original amount minus the new amount divided by the original amount. And here's an example. You can read through the word problem. You can see that we're looking at a percent decrease problem because we're going from Saturday to Sunday, and the number of skim borders was less. And so we work through that problem. We can figure out the percent of decrease, okay? And there's some examples there, all right? Make sure when you read the problem, it says identify the percent change as an increase or decrease. Do that first, all right? Is number 27 an increase or decrease? Is 28 an increase or decrease? Then use one of these formulas to find the percent of increase or decrease. The other formula we talked about is the percent of error. And remember, that is the amount of the error divided by the actual amount. So in number 29, you estimate, you guess that the jar contains 68 marbles. Okay, that's your guess. That actual number of marbles is 60. So that is my actual amount. All right. And then what do? I put the actual amount in the denominator. In the numerator, I always want to take the larger number, which is going to be my guess in this problem, and subtract the smaller number. If you get a negative value for this, you have done it wrong. You need to go back and make sure that you have the larger number and you're subtracting the smaller one from it. And I'll let you guys finish that one to figure out the percent of error. Remember, it is written as a percent. Then we talked about discounts and markups. And I had a table that I drew that I like to use. See if I can draw one here that's kind of decent. Maybe not. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. All right. In this box, it's always 100%. Okay, and this is my percent column, and this is my dollar column. So these are the units for these columns. And then what did we learn? We learned that the whole is going to be in that part. We learned the part will always be in this part of the table, and then the percent is always going to be in this part. And then we also learned that this value is my percent of discount. Whoops, that's not going to fit there. Let me do that again. All right, so that's going to be my percent of discount. If I'm talking about a discount problem, and remember that is going to be subtraction. So I would put a subtraction sign down here, or it would be my percent of markup. So this would be percent of markup. That would also go here. And remember, that would be addition. So I would put an addition sign here. Okay. And so we did some practice with that. You see a problem in here. They show you how to do it. I like to use the table to keep things organized. And so there you go. There's a couple practice problems. And then finally, we talked about simple interest. The interest equals the principal times the interest rate, which is written as a decimal, times the time. Remember, the time is always in years. Okay. And if I am given a time where we're talking about months, then I need to divide that by 12, the number of months by 12, and that will give me that amount in years. So 6 months equals 6 divided by 12. So it equals 1/2 of a year. All right. So that's how you can convert months into years. And it's pretty straightforward. You just fill in the parts that you have. Remember the balance. I kind of gave you a formula for the balance. The balance equals the principal plus the interest. So you see here to find the balance, that's what they do. They take the principal and they add the interest, and that gives you the balance. Okay. And so there's some problems here for you to practice. And that's pretty much it for chapter 6. There's quite a bit there. You can see the answer key is down here. So if you're watching the video and working out the problems, the answers are down there. Okay. And really that's it for chapter 6. Hopefully you guys spend some time studying there and put in the time, and you'll do well on the test. All right. So this is Mr. Odom. That's all I got for you. And I am OUT. Bye.